Hi, welcome to Verse of the Day. My name is Brandon Hathaway. I'm the preacher at the Westside Church of Christ in Owensboro, Kentucky. I want to thank you for joining me today as we open up the Bible and study the Word of God. Today we're in Matthew chapter 6. Matthew chapter 6, going to start in verse 1 and read our way through verse 6. Matthew 6, starting with verse 1. It says, "Beware of doing your righteousness before men to be noticed by them. Otherwise, you have no reward with your Father who is in heaven. Therefore, when you give to the poor, do not sound the trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogue, in the streets, so that they may be glorified by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. But when you give to the poor, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving will be in secret, and your Father who sees what is done is in secret will reward you. And when you pray, you are not to be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues of the street and the corners, that they may be seen by men. Truly I say to you, they have their reward in full. But you, when you pray, go into your inner room, and when you shut the door, pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." So when we read through this here, the beginning of Matthew chapter 5, but then we think about what you read yesterday as you went through as we read through Matthew chapter 6 today, and then we think about what we read yesterday in Matthew chapter 5, and it talks about being the salt of the earth, the light of the world, that you don't light a lamp and hide it, but you put it in on a lampstand so that all can see throughout the house, that everybody can see. Let your works be seen by men so that they may glorify God. And then here in Matthew 6, it says do these things in secret, right? You don't have to go forth and announce it. And so I think it's important to bring out this point that we're not to go and ring the bell and sound the trumpet, say, hear ye, look what I'm doing. Look as I go and do this great task, as I go and visit the widows, when I go in and see the orphans, when I go in and do this good deed, when I give this charitable thing. We're not to sit there and just say, look at me, because you had the scribes and Pharisees, you had the priests who wanted to just be seen by men. That's why they dressed up this certain way. That's why they made sure to do it when there's a big crowd, as they stood in the right place where everybody could see them. But it says rather, there's certain things that you do, and you go do it on your own. You do it, and it is in secret. Now, does that mean that no one can know, right? Does that mean that we try to hide everything we do in the name of God? That's not what it's saying either. Because again, Matthew 5, they're telling us to be the light of the world, that as they see our good works, they will glorify God. But we're not sitting there just making everybody look at you when you're helping feed somebody, when you're praying for somebody, when you're doing when you're doing the good deeds. We're zealous for good works. And so there's that fine line that's kind of in between there that we need to find, that we want to make sure that we're continuing to do the work of God, and that we're shining His light so that people can see it and ask questions so that we can lead them to Christ. But then there's also the point that there's certain things that we do that we don't have to sit there and announce, right? We don't have to sit there and say, well, I'm better than you because I did this and I did that and I do this. We're not sitting there making a list saying I do more than you do, right? We're all doing the work of God. We all want to continue to help lead others to Christ. And sometimes that goes along and to the point that we're doing things without it being announced. Maybe no one else even knows that you did it, but the Father up above. And if the Father knows that you did it, He is the one that is going to reward you, and that's the only reward that we need to be concerned about. So anyways, I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope that everybody has a blessed day today, and if the Lord is willing, I will talk to you later.